Welcome back, modelers. So, in this episode, we're going to start with something that when I was building my first refit kind of perplexed me for a while, and I wasn't sure exactly how this was going to work. But thankfully, I was building at the same time as one of my friends, Thorsten Schulz, aka Garberon. And Garberon discovered a really, really easy way to light the deflector and make it look just like the movie. I mean, it was astounding how good it looked, and it's so easy, it's ridiculous. So you have this thing with this little hole in the center, right? And you have a blue LED. Blue! So how do you make it so that glows nice and blue, or amber? This is actually a bicolor LED, and we'll do both colors. But you can make it look blue or amber, but how do you get it to do that with a nice hot spot in the center and a nice glow on the outside to make it look like it did in the movie? Well, it's surprisingly simple. So the first thing you do is you have to drill out that hole. That little hole in the center is not large enough at all to do anything with. What I use, I think it's a 3/8 inch drill bit. It might be a 5/8, so I'll have to check. But and I drill out that size of a hole in the center here, which I can actually go do here real quick. But after that is where the real magic happens. So hold on, let me be back in a quick second, and I will show you part 2 of that. And now we're back with the hole cut. So you drill a hole. This was actually a 9/16 that I had, so drill bit. You can do a little bigger, a little smaller, whatever size suits you. So, of course, then you put the LED over it, and it looks like an LED in the middle of the hole, which doesn't look right. So, here's where the magic happens. You just take a regular piece of paper, and you glue it to the backside of the hole. So you see now you have a diffuser. And it amazed me the very first time I tried this, but you use that as a diffuser over the blue/amber light. And once you do that, you paint I always paint the interior with like a silver, something metallic, and light block the back. And then you take the deflector dish and you frost it, usually with like dull coat or something, to make it nice and dim. And when you put it all together, you have this. So this is another one I'm working on, another refit that's sitting on the shelf that I'm working on. That's going to be my Uber one with ultimate painting, Aztecs and all that. But I had the deflector dish all done, and as you can see, I mean, it's just these parts with a piece of paper glued on the back, light blocked, and it's painted silver on the inside, and it has the deflector frosted on the outside. And it's amazing. I'll turn off the light so you guys can see. So here's your, come on. There we go. There's the blue light. Ow. That's bright. But boom, you have your deflector. And the camera's kind of washing it out a little bit, but trust me, it looks spot on the money. You get a nice hot spot in the center with a great blue glow on the outside, and it looks fantastic. So that is by far the easiest and coolest way I've seen to do this. It works just absolutely perfectly with minimal effort. So anyone who's been stressing over that, that's exactly how I've always done it. So yeah, very, very easy. And once it's all together and you mount the blue LED back inside of the secondary hull, and I usually mount it to the mounting rod post. There's a spot there where you can mount the LED. What you have to do is you have to find a tube of some kind to go around it that will block it from the outside, but still allow the light to hit the back of the deflector. So when I get there, I'll show you how to do that. The last time I built one, I was looking around for something, and my wife had this perfume spray can that had a dust cap on it, and I took the dust cap, and it was actually pretty small. It was about this big, and I sliced off one end and just glued it to the back of the deflector housing and stuck the LED in that, and it worked perfectly. So, I mean, just figure something out that will work, you know, and trial and error. Once you get it so that there's no blue or amber light leaking out into the ship, and all of it goes through the actual deflector, it looks fantastic. So, and that's what really draws your attention to this whole thing. But anyway, there will be more later, but I kind of wanted to walk you through that lesson because that worked really well for me. I always, every time people ask, how should I do this? And I always tell them, do it this way, and then they never do it. It's always funny. But yeah, just trust me. That is a really, really great way to get this to work out really nicely. It's so cool. But anyway. So there will be more in a little bit. I'm going to keep working on the secondary hull, get a few more lights. Here it is. It's all mostly put together. I still need to do the lower spotlights. Still haven't done those. And the flashers in the back and underneath. Plus, I'm going to do the light for the windows in the back and a few other minor details, and this thing will be ready. I am going to spray a little bit of light blocking inside the pylons, even though there's no light in there, but it makes it so that, you know, it diffuses it a little bit and keeps it from looking like a toy. It looks more solid, so we'll be doing that as well. But anyway, more later. Okay, everyone, we've been going along working on the refit for a while, and actually I kind of went forward and did a lot to it and then didn't realize that I had kind of gone past and hadn't documented anything. So it was all these little tiny things, you know, that I'm doing you've got a whole bunch of things you've got to do inside the ship before you can button it up, you know. Everything has to be completely done inside it before you can close it. So some of the things that I've done are things like I put in an SMD. It's actually a 3020 white SMD here for the top navigation light, and I'm gonna tie that in when I put it all together. I also light block the pylons. Now the reason I did that, even though there's no lighting in it, is and I may have mentioned this before, but if you get any lighting behind them and they're not light blocked, they'll sort of glow a little bit. It actually gives it away that it's plastic and not, you know, a real ship. So what I've done is I just light block them just to kind of dull them down so that they look a little more solid. So when you hold them up to the light, they've still got a little bit coming through, but with both halves on there, it's going to be much, much better. So we're kind of looking to kind of help with that. So I've gotten all my lighting here for the shuttle bay, which I've already shown you. I also put in the inboard floodlights, which I also showed you. What I didn't show you was I put on the floodlights, the outboard floodlights. These I used the 2mm lighthouses for, and those turned out really great. They shine real nice. You put them all together, and you get a real nice floodlight effect. So I've also hogged out the pylons so that wiring can be sent up to the nacelles easily enough. Now you have to get 3 circuits up to the nacelles, because they have the strobe lights, they have solid on, and they have the warp engines. So all 3 of those need to be wired up separately so that they can all operate independently of each other. And I'll go into that a little more when the time comes. But otherwise, it's just been little odds and ends. Oh yeah, and I put on the strobe in the bottom, the little strobe light. I drilled that out and stuck a 2mm lighthouse in there, so it's all set to go. You can see it down in there. So the other thing I did was I light blocked the dorsal. So I haven't pulled any of my masking tape off. I masked the whole anywhere that I glue it together, just to make sure that we get a nice solid bond there. So and after reading comments and giving it some thought, on this particular build, I'm not going to light the torpedoes. I'm just gonna paint it gunmetal and stick it in there, make it nice and easy. I just think for an easy build as a starter, we don't want to add more than what someone who's starting out would want to take on. So remember, the whole idea is to show that you can build a really nice refit without going nuts and then adding all this extra stuff that you don't need. So and the other thing I did was I drilled out a hole for the dorsal. So that's where all our wiring will pass up to the rest of the saucer. So things to do. I have to. I light blocked and primed the piece where the lower navigation light goes in, so I need to put that in. I'll use another 3020 SMD for that, just like I did for the top. I also need to paint the rear shuttle bay windows red and put those in. Those haven't been done yet. And the rear tractor emitters are masked, which I did with Jerry's mask set, and they need to be installed. They are actually out in my paint booth. I just light blocked them, so I'll take out the airbrush and airbrush them their final color before I put them in so that they're done. So, and I'm going to leave them masked for a while just to make sure that, you know, I get all the painting done and don't have any touch-ups to do and whatnot. So, but after that, once I get those in, that in, and I guess it's 3 items back here, and then I've got to wire up everything that's going to go up the dorsal, or up the pylons, excuse me. And then, yeah, make sure that everything is ready to wire up to the saucer, and then we're ready to roll to shut this up. So we're actually making lots of progress on it. It's coming along really well. So hang tight, and I will put it together, and we can hook it up to the power supply and show you what all the spotlights look like when they're on. So sit tight just a second. I'll show that to you real quick. And there we are. So here you can see the spotlight on the pylon here. Both the inboard ones are on, the outboard one is on, and the other outboard ones. So yeah, it looks very, very good. So we're coming right along. There's a few areas that need a little extra light blocking, and those areas I'll probably do from the outside. I typically try to get a metallic of some kind, like a silver, for the outside and hit those so that we don't have any more issues. But I'll do that once everything's in and masked and we're ready to do our final painting on the secondary hull. So we're coming along. It's looking pretty good. So I'm actually going to wrap up this episode because I want to get it up on YouTube before I continue. Next episode, we're going to try to, I'm going to actually attempt to push through and close this thing by the end of the next episode. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully I'll get there. We can't, it's one of those things you want to push it, but you don't want to push it, because if you push it too hard, you'll wind up wishing you hadn't pushed it so hard, because then you've got to get it apart again or something. So we don't want that. So, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you found it useful, and thanks for watching.